Svetlana Shlopak, the founder of UKVisaSuccess.com is here. If you're a new national or a family member of a new national, you are probably quite naturally concerned about your immigration rights in the UK. And that is precisely why I've created this frequently asked questions show. Well, I'll be answering various frequently asked questions regarding new nationals and their family members' immigration rights to reside in the UK. So here's the next question.
Extended family members of EU nationals, comparing the two categories number 2 and 3. In my previous videos, I've explained very important difference between direct and extended family members and also clarified the rules for all direct family members and explain the necessary conditions for categories 1, 2 and 3 of the extended family group. I've created this special video to explain the crucial difference between categories number 2 and 3 of the extended family member group, which may seem not so obvious at first. This is because both groups are there to assist extended family members of EU nationals to be reunited with their EU national relative in the UK if they have a serious medical condition and need the EU national to look after them. The best way to explain the difference between the two categories is to give you an example. Jose is a national of Spain living and working in the UK. His 25-year-old brother Miguel lives in Brazil. Miguel is mentally ill and Miguel's and Jose's grandmother Bonita was looking after Miguel on a full-time basis. Sadly, Bonita died a few days ago and therefore there is no longer anyone in Brazil who will be able to look after Miguel. Now, let us compare categories 2 and 3 routes to see what Jose will need to prove in order to bring Miguel over to the UK. We'll start with the definition of a relative. For category number 2, which is interpreted under the EU law, the term relative includes brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, cousins, nieces, nephews, and this list is not complete. There is no limit on distance of the relationship between the EU national and the extended family member as long as they can prove that they have this relationship and there is a valid proof that this relationship exists. For example, you can also include those related to each other by marriage and further generations of the above relatives, such as great aunts, great nephews, second cousins, etc., etc., etc. Now, if you look at the definition of a relative in category number 3, which is interpreted under UK domestic immigration rules, the EU nationals relatives category can only be there for a parent aged 18 plus, a grandparent, brother or sister over the age of 18, and son and daughter over the age of 18. This means that Miguel, for example, if he was Jose's nephew and not his brother, then he would automatically be disqualified to apply under category 3. In order for Miguel to join Jose in the UK under category 2, all that Jose needs to prove is the fact that Miguel strictly requires personal care of Jose due to Miguel's serious health grounds and that Jose is a qualified person. In other words, that he's either working, he's a self-employed person, or he's self-sufficient. However, if Miguel chooses to join Jose under category 3, in addition to providing medical evidence confirming his severe medical condition, he also needs to show that Jose was unable to find someone to look after Miguel in Brazil, or that that type of care was not affordable to Jose. In practice, this condition, especially when a relative lives in a country which is not expensive in comparison to the UK, is virtually impossible to satisfy. And additionally, Jose will have to provide the immigration authorities with a number of documents confirming his financial credibility, as well as the fact that he will be able to adequately accommodate Miguel. As you may remember, there is no such requirement in category 2. All you have to show is that Jose is a qualified person, that he's working, self-employed, or self-sufficient. This example clearly shows the difference between the two categories and the fact that the threshold for category number 3 is significantly higher than for category number 2, and therefore you should always aim at applying under category 2, as there are less conditions to satisfy and less documents to provide.